Eden Zero is pretty much a spiritual successor to Fairy Tail, and when the first picture of the manga was revealed, it held a lot of controversy as it looked like a Fairy Tail clone. And yeah, I can understand that point of view, but that didn't really bother me at all. You know, I like Fairy Tail even if it's not perfect. So if it was similar, I figure I would probably like it. Eventually I decided to give it a try to see whether it's just Fairy Tail or something better. And guys, I think it might actually be something better. Well, I'm not sure, but I think it improved on some crucial aspect of Fairy Tail that might make Eden Zero a more enjoyable experience. The story is actually more focused than Fairy Tail, which is kinda refreshing in some way. Fairy Tail is a show that didn't really have a main goal, much like a show like Gintama, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but it can make the show feel like there's no progression sometimes. For the most part, Fairy Tail are fighting the new problem that just show up, but it doesn't always come to play in the grand scheme of things. But Eden Zero is more like One Piece, where the main character have a precise goal to look forward to. In shows like One Piece, not every arc always contributes to the plot, but it almost always contributes a bit to getting the character closer to the ultimate goal, since there's a known location the character needs to get to. In Fairy Tail, they fight threats as they appear, but except toward the end, it always goes back to a status quo without going anywhere. But in Eden Zero, no matter how many detours they take, they still go one step closer to getting to their ultimate goal. You feel some progression. It's kinda like when they pass the Grand Line in One Piece. I actually felt like the story was going somewhere, but keep in mind Eden Zero storytelling is more like One Piece than Fullmetal Alchemist or Death Note. In Fullmetal Alchemist, the story goes forward in a tangible way that feel like every event are unfolding in a realistic pace, and you also never really go back to a status quo. The story is always ongoing, while in One Piece the story goes back to a status quo but still move you closer to the goal. Eden Zero picked the right choice by making its story with a real goal in mind while maintaining a status quo, because this is the most effective way to do a long-running adventure show. Because to live multiple adventures, you gotta reset to a status quo, otherwise it's just one big endless adventure. This way, even if the story goes for 500 of issue, you can still get some satisfaction from the ending of arcs. It makes the story feel like an adventure without seeming endless. I don't know if that makes any sense, like it feels good to finish an arc in a long-running manga. Otherwise, reading one big story of 500 chapters in one arc would feel kinda heavy. I like both ways of storytelling, but there's no arguing that the one from Eden Zero helped create a better understanding of the story progression. A lot of time it makes for a more satisfying experience. So Eden Zero have a more focused and understandable story in a sense that you can feel the story progression more in that one than Fairy Tail. Fairy Tail is mostly seen as a bad show for its fight. I still really like Fairy Tail, like for real, let's stop right here. I like that show a lot. I still read the chapter and I love it. It's flawed, but I like it. Okay, let's go back. Even though I like it, I can't argue that the show has some big problem. So the problem here is not the fight themselves, but more how the show handled them. The fight are cool, but they're really nonsensical at times, mostly in its power scaling. Let's not beat around the bush. Fairy Tail have a lot of bullshit power up, and I'm not talking about transformation like Super Saiyan or QB Chakra mode. No, I'm talking about what the community refer to as friendship power up. Sometimes they get overpowered by the big bad guy, but for some bullshit reason they just beat the guy. Now listen, a lot of show does that, but most of the time the show try to have some kind of reason why it happened, like a bullshit transformation out of nowhere. But Fairy Tail doesn't even bullshit transform the character. And this is weird, most people have problem. They just win for no reason. Then again, other show does it, like even One Piece did it once, but Fairy Tail does it way too much. So how Eden fix the problem? Well, it's simple. It seems like Hiro Mashima inspired himself from shows like JoJo or Hunter x Hunter, where the character and enemy have specific moveset and enemy have at least one weakness to exploit. Like in Fairy Tail, sure, Natsu does fire and gray ice, but if they were to fight, even though fire would technically beat ice, Natsu would not necessarily have an advantage. which kind of make their moveset pointless. I'm not saying Gray should always lose to Natsu, but I'm saying that he should have a disadvantage. It's only an example, but Fairy Tail moveset doesn't mean much, it's the power level that matters. Kinda like in Dragon Ball, if Cell is stronger, he's just stronger, like you can't hurt him. Until you just can. The enemy don't have clear weakness, so when Natsu and the gang win, we're left clueless to how they win. While in Eden Zero, the moveset matter a bit more. Listen, it's no JoJo, but it's still way better than Fairy Tail's bullshit. Most of the time when Shiki win, I can kinda get behind that. It's not perfect, and I'm not even sure if it will stick since the manga is not over, but I think the show improved in the fight scene department over Fairy Tail. And since for a lot of people this is the biggest problem that Fairy Tail has, I think you will probably enjoy Eden Zero way more. Eden Zero have better story progression and fight scene, which is something that can make a lot of people happy. But here's the thing, it really is Fairy Tail's spiritual successor, and in that sense it carried the same feel, the same vibe Fairy Tail did. So if you're a Fairy Tail fan, you will probably love it, but if you don't like Fairy Tail for something other than the two aspects I mentioned they change, you probably won't like it. This show is pure Hiro Mashima. This guy just loves to go with the flow and make chapter just fun, whether he goes full fan service with girl baiting or just having the character chill and hang out and have fun. You know how he is, he loves to bring back characters that he think are cool, and he sure loved bondage. Like, he really liked that shit a lot. I remember reading Fairy Tail 100 Years Quest and Eden Zero with my bros, and each time a girl get tied up we were like, classic Mashima. Honestly, I don't really mind that stuff, cause most of the time it results in satisfying beatdown afterward, but still, if that's a turn off for you, I can understand. If you like what Fairy Tail is all about, you know, friendship, adventure, cool looking fight, fun chemistry between the team, and badass beat the evil ugly bastard moment, you will like Eden Zero. But if you didn't like Fairy Tail for something other than the story pacing and bullshit fight scene, you'll still don't like Eden Zero. Guys, in the end, it's a show that improved on Fairy Tail's formula, but that retained the same spirit, for better or for worse. Honestly, so far, kinda like both equally, but I can see Eden Zero becoming something way better and even winning people that hate Fairy Tail over. Let's hope the manga stays that way, and let's hope that you guys enjoy it. Anyway, if you like this video and want more Eden Zero video or just some anime video, like and subscribe. Peace out.